Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cookin' with Hova. I'm your host, John Hova. This is spare ribs Mountain Dew pineapple style. What? Just watch, you'll enjoy it. So, first and foremost, one of the tricks I like to use is I bought one of these little, I think they're meant for pulling catfish skin off, or just descaling, deskinning fish, but I found these and they were cheap. They're like $10 or something like that, and it's a really nice tool to use to get the membrane off of the back of a rack of ribs. Some people, I worked at a restaurant, a smokehouse, a steakhouse, and we cooked dozens of racks every day, and we would just score the back. Some people do that. Some people like to leave them on. Anyways, using this rub again that the business went out of sale, I use the same rub on my pork shoulder, and they're out of business now, but I really like the rub. And then some honey barbecue from Flavor God. So you're gonna watch me just thoroughly rub this thing down in delicious spice. But yeah, this is a rack of spare ribs. You can usually get pretty good deals on spare ribs. They're not pretty. They've usually got big chunks of extra meat on them, which I enjoy. I don't mind. You know, I know some people like to try to play it perfect or whatever and have a pretty little rack and they trim them up and everything. Not for me. I get this big old slab, season it up, throw it on there, and you know, whatever comes out, and it's good to go. So this is the first time I've done ribs on my Traeger, but I enjoyed it. I think they came out well. Let me know what you guys think here. So you're going to want to get that membrane off. Again, you don't have to. That's just what I like to do. It's a little less, work to get through the bottom bite, depending on how you cook them. You know, some people like fall off the bone. Some people like ribs with a little bit of a bite. And you can change it up based on your preference in that area. I like fall off the bone ribs. So that's what we're doing here today. As you can see, you got to season the underside too, and then everything that falls off on the side on your pan or your tray or whatever you're seasoning on, make sure you scoop that up, get all those edges in between the bones and everything. Just kind of basically try to cover every little square inch of meat in the seasoning. For obvious reasons, you're going to get better flavor throughout, and you'll be glad you did. But this is my rack. We're getting it all seasoned up. It's almost done. What do you guys think about these food commentaries? I don't know if anybody else has ever done food commentaries, but I was like, I used to do Call of Duty commentaries. Why not do food commentaries? So here we are. I just got my Traeger. I've been playing around with it a lot. Let me know what else you guys would like to see. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. Every time I'm scrolling on social media, I see people, cooking all kinds of crazy things. And, I'll save one every once in a while as a good idea that I want to try out. Some Texas armadillo eggs, I think they're called. Shotgun shells. I got a bunch of stuff. I've got a beef tongue in the freezer I think we're going to put on the smoker here soon. I'm excited to try all these things out. So you can see now we've got the ribs beautifully seasoned. You don't want to cake it on. You don't want to see big lumps of caked on seasoning. As you can see here, this is what we're going to be using, the Mountain Dew Baja Gold. It's pineapples. We're going to pour this in a sprayer. Every once in a while, we'll open the Traeger up, spray them down to keep them nice and moist as they're cooking in the smoking process. But yeah, you don't want to cake that seasoning on. You don't want to just lightly dust it, but you don't want to have it caked on there either. And I've said this before, but a lot of people really overthink the whole rubbing process. You don't have to rub the meat. In fact, a lot of times when you rub it like that, you're going to rub the seasoning right off the meat. Shush, phone. So just get a good layer on there, kind of pat it into the meat. The meat should just absorb it, especially if you pat dry the meat before you start rubbing. And now that you've got that done, you also want to try to let your ribs get to about room temperature before you throw them on the grill. You're going to set your Traeger to 225. Look at that smoke rolling out of there. I'm using a hickory. I think I'm using a hickory blend for these. And we're going to throw these on and try to get them to an internal temp of about 160. Again, this is my method. This is what I like to do. You'll have to do your own research. There's lots of different opinions, lots of different methods on how to do things, but I like fall off the bone. So we're going to throw them on the Traeger, set at 225, get that internal temp of about 160, and then we're going to pull them off. We're going to add a few things, a few secrets. Not much of a secret. Most people probably do the same thing, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And then we're going to wrap them back up in some foil. We're going to get them back on the grill and get them up to about 200 degrees. And that 200 degrees will ensure the fall off the bone style rib that I enjoy. If you don't want that, if you don't want the fall off the bone, oh, I can't talk. If you don't want the fall off the bone and you want more of a rib with a bite, you could just get them up to 160, 165. Maybe wrap them in some foil, but don't cook them up to 200. Maybe just let them sit in foil for a while is what I would recommend. But I don't know. I don't do the bite ribs very often. I like to fall off the bone. When you're going to open this thing up from time to time and spray them down, don't open it up every 20 minutes. You know, if you're doing a 6-hour cook or whatever, it depends on how big your rack is and all that. You're paying attention to your internal temp with your thermometer. You know, you don't want to open this all the time. Every time you open that grill, you're losing valuable heat. And then it's going to take a while for your heat to get back up to the point it was at, and then your ribs can start cooking again. So don't open it too often. I would say, you know, if you're doing a rack of ribs, you only want to open it 3 or 4 times max, probably. Spray it down with this beautiful, delicious pineapple Mountain Dew. Who else is out here doing pineapple Mountain Dew ribs? Not very many people, but I am. We're going to do the weird stuff out here, okay? Look at that. Look how beautiful those are. I don't get the spare ribs hate again. I don't understand. You don't need this small, little, pretty St. Louis style rack. Get yourself some spare ribs. They're like $1.25 a pound or something. I don't know. They're stupid cheap. So you can see there we've got a 127 internal temp. We're going to check it again here. Look at the black glove. The videos with the smoking meats always got the black glove, so I had to fit in, right? Look, we're at 163 internal temp. That's perfect. This is when we're going to pull those beautiful ribs off. These are good to eat. You could take them off right now. Maybe sauce it up a little bit. Slice them up. Serve them. If you like that little bit of a bite, you have to... It's not going to be tough, but it's not going to fall off the bone either. So as you can see, get yourself a big sheet of aluminum foil and some good butter. Slice up your butter. Some people melt it first. I don't know why you do that. You got hot ribs, 165 degree ribs you're about to put on these butters. It's going to melt. Trust me. I took a science class. That's how I know how butter melts, right? So you put your butter on there. Get yourself some honey. Give yourself a nice, generous squirt of honey on there. Look at all that. Oh, yeah. I don't think I did any brown sugar in this because I didn't have any. I would have done a little bit of brown sugar. I have since this video acquired the brown sugar. I would have put it on there. I didn't. Put it on if you want. Don't put it on if you don't want. I should have put a little bit more of my rub, a little more of my seasoning in there too. But I forgot to do that. But just honey and just butter will work. It'll mix with the rub that's already on the outside of the ribs and some of the juices of the meat. Get that wrapped up real nice. You saw meat side down, bone side up on top of that butter and honey. You could wrap it again if you're really worried about it. I'm not. The way I wrapped it, it's not going to leak as long as you keep it upright like that. And you're going to want to throw these back on the Traeger at 275. Okay? We're looking for an internal temp somewhere around the 200 mark to achieve that fall off the bone. I mean, when you get these off the grill, you got to be careful. You got to have 3 hands or a big old spatula or something to slide underneath them. They're gonna fall apart. That's how I like them. Some people don't like that. They think that tender fall off the bone consistency is reserved for a pork shoulder. I don't believe in that. I don't subscribe to that. You can see I got some potatoes thrown on there and some baked beans. Got our sides on there now because, hey, our meat's about done. It's finishing at this point, right? Be careful with your foil. You scoot it too hard, man. You're going to have a blowout on the bottom. You don't want that. All that juice right here, you'll see I spill a little bit of it here in a second. I almost cried. Not only because I was wearing sandals and some of it got on my foot and it was very painful, but also because that stuff is liquid gold right there. That is delicious honey, butter, meat, juice, gold. You're going to want to save that. And once you slice these bad boys up, you're going to want to pour that back over your meat. I was trying to get a temp here, and then I saw some of the bones like just popping out of the meat, and I was like, nah, we're good. These are done. I don't need an internal temp. I need to take these off. So you can see the ribs right here. Look, I'm struggling to keep them together. Bones are just falling out of it. It's out of control. This meat looks so good. You just want to slam your face into it and devour the whole rack. Tell the kids, tell the wife, tell the in-laws, like, I don't know what happened to the ribs. I must have dropped them outside. I don't know what happened. Meanwhile, you're just covered in meat juice. You ate the whole rack. Nobody needs to know, right? Sometimes you might have a little bit of a trouble with the angle that these ribs go at. Sometimes it's hard to tell kind of where the lines are to cut. If that's the case, cutting them from the underside facing up is always better. I left it face side up just for the sake of the video. The pretty side up, you know. But as you can see, I'm not having too much trouble here. The meat's so tender. You don't even really have to like use any force. You're basically just giving a little bit of a push, and the meat's gonna fall, or the knife is gonna fall right through that meat right there. Look, that big like tomahawk on the end, that's Dad's piece, right? You throw that on Dad's plate. Yeah, there's like a half a pork loin attached to it. It doesn't matter. He's gonna eat it all. Look at that. Look at that color. Juicy, tender, bone pulls right through it. Unfortunately, you still got some of those knuckles and stuff down at the end, so you can't just like eat this whole thing. But look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Baja Pineapple Mountain Dew ribs on the Traeger. Look how delicious that is. Comment down below. What do you guys want to see me cook next? Give me suggestions. I'll pick some cool stuff out. I'll try it. I'll see you guys on the next episode.